Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about a topic that something happened in Bali, and I'm definitely not in Bali right now. I'm actually here in London, my favorite city in the world at least, my hometown. It is currently Sunday at like 7 a.m.-ish. My gym opens at 8 a.m. on Sunday, so I wake up at 6:30 as normal, and on Sundays I actually go for a walk, like a long 1 hour walk, instead of going to the gym. So it's because of that I thought I would shoot this video for you, or it's because of something that I thought of while, or an incident that I thought of while I was in Bali. And it's funny, sometimes you end up having really just hilarious conversations in the sauna, because the person to the right of you or to the left of you is just like sweating their balls off, and it's just super uncomfortable and awkward. But you know, I struck up conversation with this guy that was sitting with me in the sauna, and you know, we got into talking and whatnot, and you know, I was like, so what do you do, blah blah. He's like, oh, I develop like he said, like some sort of like financial consulting thing, blah blah blah. You know, let him talk for like 5 minutes, and then he's like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, you know, I have an advertising agency. We run Facebook advertising, some Google advertising for e-commerce and info product businesses. He's like, oh, cool, I do marketing too. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. I thought you were a consultant. He's like, no, I mainly do the back end of websites. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So what do you mean by the back end? Do you mean like, and to be honest, I don't really even know what the back end of websites would mean. That's why I asked him. It was like a genuine question. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool, the back end of a website. So are you like a developer or something? He's like, no, I do, you know, the back end. Like I help with the back end, and that's where all the money's made. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but like, you know, what do you, like, what does that exactly mean? He's like, oh, I do all the stuff that I put in all the systems and processes, so you know, the website can make money, you know, long term. I'm like, oh, cool. So like, what sort of systems and processes? And we went in this circle, and I found quite a lot of enjoyment just from you know, continuously just coming back to that question, which is like, what is the actual result you get? Now, obviously, you know, this is a stranger. I didn't want to be disrespectful or anything like that. You know, I didn't, you know, I wasn't confrontational, but you know, I found a lot of pleasure. And let me just try and cross the road now without getting run over. But I found a lot of pleasure in just taking them around in the circle. And once again, yesterday, I was actually at a meeting. I never do in-person meeting with clients. I have a rule. It has to be within 8-minute walk of my house. And this time it was within an 8-minute walk. So I agreed to meet in person with this client, or actually this prospective client. And, you know, right before this client came, I was sitting next to another guy. He was around like 45 or something. And it was one of those like French style cafes here in London. So the tables are really close to each other. And by the way, guys, I apologize for the sound. I'm kind of like next to a big road. But you know, I was on one of these French tables, and you know, super close to each other. And once again, we struck up conversation, and same sort of thing, you know, talked generally for a couple minutes, and then, you know, he asked me what I did. I told him what I did. I told him, you know, I have my online advertising agency. You know, we get results using paid traffic for clients. And then I also have a education company where I, you know, teach aspiring and current agency owners how to scale. Then I asked him what he did, and it was just, you know, it was just like, I just couldn't understand it, you know. He was throwing around these big words, you know, we help, once again, it was a financial services company, you know, we help financial services company vertically scale through the use of this, by building this, and like you know, whenever anything happens, it doesn't matter what industry it's in, whether I understand the industry or not, my number one goal is to drill down to what is either the root issue or what is the root result that we are trying to get someone. So once again, I did some more like digging and whatnot, and by the end of it I realized that, and by the end of it I basically realized that this guy had absolutely no idea what the fuck they were doing, and he was quite high up in a company with roughly around 2,000 employees, and they had no idea what the hell they were doing. And this comes back to a book, I forget whether it was in Culture Code or it was either in the Culture Code or it was in the Netflix book by Patty something. But basically they said there that everyone in your company, and this is something that applies to me right now, especially as I'm growing the Grow Your Agency sort of roster and team, everyone in the company needs to know exactly what the hell you guys are doing. Everyone in your company, if they're put in the same situation that, those two people were, where they need to explain what the company actually does, they should be able to, on the spot, be able to pull that up, and without any fluff and with real good understanding. And that brings me to the topic of this video, which is, the problem that you solve shouldn't be complex. The problem that you solve, anyone should understand. Now, the way in which you do it, that can have layers and layers and layers of complexity, but the actual problem that you solve, it shouldn't be complex. All right, so let me give you an example with my agency. With my agency, businesses need more leads and more customers. Now, in my case, the KPI that I'm optimizing for with my clients, I wouldn't go to my clients and be proud that I got a CPL, cost per lead of X amount, because for the info product business, we are running the ads to the funnel, and then the funnel converts. So the main metric, the main KPI that we optimize off of, or we base our results off of, is CPA, cost per acquisition. Now, with our e-com clients, it's the exact same thing, because they already have, e-commerce platform, because they're already selling on, whatever they're selling on, cost per acquisition is the main metric that we're going off of. But, that's my point. The main problem that people have, or businesses have, it's not complex, All it is businesses need more customers and they need more leads. In our case, as I said, because we are doing info product and e-com clients, where the main KPI is cost per acquisition, not cost per lead, because our info product clients, now funnily enough, we actually have one of our info product clients that's like they're kind of they're about to release a 5-6K program. So for that, the main KPI that we'd be looking at is cost per lead, because obviously we can't take the discovery calls for them. They have to do it themselves. We can only best advise them. So the problem isn't complex. The problem is our clients need more customers. Now, the way in which we do it, that can have added layers of complexity and whatnot. If we look at, a company like Google and look at the problem that they are trying to solve, the problem that they're trying to solve is they're basically trying to take all the world's information and make it, and organize it and make it easily accessible, So you could have someone at Google, you could have a top exec, either do what those two other guys did, which is go round and the funny thing is, most of the time I feel as though people like to add added complexity because they think it makes them sound smarter. It makes them think that what they're doing, their work, is more meaningful. I can tell you, for me, it's far more impressive when I meet a business owner. And by the way, guys, this is one of the reasons I don't really network too much, or pretty much, ever, is because a lot of time, when you're networking, a lot of ego is involved. A lot of time the other person is just trying to just make themselves feel more, make themselves just feel more special, more clever, etc., etc. And a lot of time there's just a lot of ego involved. By the way, guys, I apologize for the shaking. I wish I had my DJI Osmo. I literally just decided to do this off the cuff because I was thinking about it. So, back to the topic of this video, complexity. The problem that you are solving doesn't need to be complex. Me solving the issue of my clients need more customers, that's not a complex problem. Everyone can understand that. Now, whereas if I told people, someone asks, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I run paid traffic. And this is just a normal person who isn't in the digital marketing sphere. if I just told them, hey, you know, I have a digital marketing agency where we scale and optimize paid traffic campaigns for large info product and e-commerce clients. Not many people would understand that, or at least just your typical person wouldn't understand that. Or, you know, if I was like, hey, you know, my agency, we run cold campaigns on Facebook, then retargeting on both Facebook, its audience network, Google, its audience network, for large info product and e-commerce clients, blah, blah, etc., etc. You know, they wouldn't know. They'd be like, why are you calling this traffic cold? Like, what, well, you know, most people just wouldn't understand it. So there's always, you know, two ways you can kind of frame something and frame the problem that you're solving. Now, if that person, if I was like, hey, we bring customers more leads, we bring our clients more customers using Facebook, like using Facebook ads. Most people can understand Facebook ads. Whereas if I said paid traffic, you know, we do cold and then we do retargeting on, for example, Google, they might not understand it. So you want to make the problem that you are solving not complex at all. All right. And you should be able to, off the cuff, just be able to actually talk about what your business is actually trying to accomplish. Let's look at Grow Your Agency, which is my education company. Our goal is to reform the education system by building the best e-learning platform in the world. All right. Now, even that might be a little too complex for your common person. They might be like, oh, what's an e-learning platform? Blah, blah, blah. You know, that might even cause too many questions. So, you know, I might say something along the lines of, you know, Grow Your Agency, our mission is to reform the education system by building a best educational material in the world, you know? And that makes it a little easier to digest and understand. But, you know, I see it time and time again. And this is, to be honest, most of the time, this is why I'm very unimpressed with a lot of these corporate-y people, a lot of these people that, and I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of these corporate-y people and a lot of these people who have very high positions and stuff like that. The issue is ego will absolutely kill you and it'll just eat you alive if you let it. And that's why a lot of these people, when they're 40, 45, they think they've accomplished so much because they're using the barometer they're using to actually assess that is, you know, where they are in the company, not, you know, what have they actually accomplished? What problems are they solving? Are they constantly innovating? Are they constantly pushing the barrier? It's just like, oh, you know, I'm the VP, so, you know, obviously I know a thing or two. And as I said, that's why a lot of time I don't like a lot of these larger corporate companies. I'm not going to name the name, but I had a client that come to me. It would have been my largest retainer. It was actually a referral from another one of my happy clients, and that would have been $15,000 a month, the retainer. And I honestly just wanted to kill myself in the Zoom calls that we had, because they just seemed so centralized, so sluggish, so like, you know, so do everything by the books, vetting, etc., etc. And I understand, you know, the bigger the company gets, you know, there's more vetting, there's more things that need to be in place. But, you know, a lot of these bigger companies, they move slow and, you know, just ridiculously slow. But, you know, my right arm is hurting now, which I guess, you know, is my signal to circle back to the main point and kind of leave you with that, which is, look, whether you have an agency, whether you have a Shopify store, or whether you have, you know, a consulting business, whether you have this thing or that thing, you know, figure out what the actual problem is that you are solving. All right. I mean, you know, you just gotta read into some of the, you know, read into the tech bubble and some of the technology companies that were coming out of, you know, the back end of the 90s going into the early 2000s. Just the craziest shit, you know, just some of the weirdest companies came around. They weren't really solving a problem for anyone, but just because it was such a, you know, the market was in such a delusional place. And it was kind of the exact same thing with the whole cryptocurrency thing. It was kind of the same thing with the whole cryptocurrency thing is, you know, there's just so many companies that came about. And, you know, by the way, I still don't have an opinion on cryptocurrency at all. Like, I don't want to even, yeah, I just don't even have an opinion on that. So that's a little heads up. But you know, even if you were, the market was in such a delusional place, but even if you were in that delusional state, you could still identify that some of these companies were honestly just a joke. They were really solving a problem, or at least a problem that people knew they had. Now, obviously, there's some big innovators, you know, Apple, Amazon. They do things where you don't even know that you need it until it happens. Or that you even want it until it happens. But those are a little different from some of these other companies I'm talking about. So identify what the problem is you're solving. Number two, the problem shouldn't be complex. No matter where you are in the world, what industry you're in, the problem should not be complex. The way you do it, there's gonna have multiple complexities to that, you know, just tons and tons of complexity in the actual way you achieve that, or the way you solve that problem. But the actual problem that you're solving, it shouldn't be complex. If it's complex, then I don't know, you probably haven't been able to explain it well enough. So guys, hope you enjoyed that video. As I said, it's a little bit off the cuff. I apologize for the shaking and probably a little bit of rambling. I'm not used to just walking and shooting these vids, but hope you enjoyed it. You know, strip away some of the complexity from the main problem that you're solving. And hopefully if I ever meet you in person, we strike up a conversation in a coffee shop or something. You can tell me in like 3 seconds what your company does. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you